Welcome to 561 Music. I'm Hector.
Hey, Hector. I'm James.
How are you, James?
I'm good.
Yeah, all right. Well, why are you here, James?
I'm filling in for Ben.
And where's Ben?
Ben is not here. He is in our studio.
He's in the 561 Music Lounge. Hey, Ben, what are you doing there?
Hi, I'm a talking head this week. I'm all the way over in England, old Blighty, the green grass of home over here. And due to the wonders of modern technology, I'm also in the 561 Music Lounge, which is pretty cool. And I'm just I flew over to England a couple of days ago, and I've been hanging out with my family and stuff like that. But I'm still quarantined in my house, so this is a pleasant distraction. So thanks for letting me zoom in on this one. Also, we've never done it like this, so I just really wanted to see if we could pull it off. So nice one.
Absolutely, man. It wouldn't be 561 Music without you. And I have to tell you, me being such an aficionado of the 80s, I'm digging the vibe, man. It's just kind of like a little Max Headroom thing going on here. You're like in a little box, and I like it. It's weird. I like it.
That's awesome. Like it's great here. The weather is. I always forget that even in midsummer it's cold. I was wandering around with my sleeveless t-shirt on, and it was like not a cloud in the sky, right? Like the middle of the day, June 23rd. I'm cold. I've completely converted to a Floridian at this point.
That sounds amazing.
I'm not used to the cold.
No, it doesn't.
That does sound
That sounds amazing. It's so hot out right now. It's terrible out.
No, it's nice.
All right. Well, our guest this week is Fox Maple. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Absolutely.
We're going to have way too much fun.
We have already had way too much fun.
Right.
Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. Ben usually has a list of questions that he asks everybody. So I've got his handy list of questions here, and the first one he usually asks is, "How did you get started in music?"
Well, my dad was a very interesting man, is a very interesting man, and was extremely interesting at the time that I started music. He is a psychologist, but he's also extremely creative, and he would write like crazy funny songs about psychology. Songs for psychologists. He actually like made like a mixtape.
It's like the Weird Al of
Interesting.
psychology.
I'm telling you, he's a Weird Al of psychology. That's actually a good way to describe it. He and he's got a diverse background. You know, he's Hispanic. He lived in California. He lived in New Orleans, which is where he really started getting started with music. Yeah. And then we were from Georgia. But he got me, the first instrument that I wanted was a saxophone, which was a little challenging for a 6-year-old.
He got my first instrument too.
Really?
Yeah.
Difficult
And the same thing. It was super challenging. Difficult. And I ended up giving it up because it was too challenging. Like for such a young kid,
Difficult.
Didn't get it. It was like too much. The wind control. It was too stressful.
Difficult.
That was actually
difficult.
my first instrument, and I believe it was Ben's first instrument too.
Really?
Yeah, it was the first instrument I was any good at anyway. I did a bit of piano before that, but sax was like the first thing I fell in love with. Which sax did you get, Sally? Was it? Can you remember what size it was?
6-year-old Sally. Do you remember? It was.
Can you remember if it was an alto or a tenor? It's probably an alto.
It was brass.
It was. It was. Well played, sir.
It was a sort of goldy color and it was bendy like a snake. Okay,
that's an excellent question. You know, I do have a sax player that plays with me who's super talented. He plays an alto sax that's probably about the size of the one that I had, but I was 6 years old.
Yeah, I bet it was an alto sax. That's cool.
Maybe that's what it was.
I used to play as well.
It's very possible. And then that didn't go well. He got me a harmonica. That was interesting. I occasionally play the harmonica. And my mom played piano. Finally, my mom intervened, and she's like, she's going to start piano lessons, and that was good. I wanted my sister's guitar because I knew she wasn't playing it. It took me like 10 years to get that guitar from her because it's a Sigma, so it's basically a Martin. And I had to wait until my dad noticed that she hadn't played it for a really long time. And then he took it away from her and gave it to me. And it's been an argument ever since.
Oh my goodness!
But she still doesn't play. So I rest my case.
So do you still have it?
Of course I still have it.
Yeah,
it's besides that mandolin, that's the only decent, like really nice instrument I own. The Ovation's pretty good, but the Sigma is great, and then the Gold Tone is unbelievable.
Well, seeing as we're talking about it right now, can you tell us a little bit about that cool gold-toned giant mandolin that you have? That's super cool.
I'm obsessed with it. I just got it maybe 3 weeks ago. I'd been shopping for an octave mandolin, which I found out because I somehow went down a rabbit hole drinking a couple beverages one night about mandocellos. It's like mandolins, cello, so it's half tuned to a cello, half tuned to a mandolin. And I'm like, well, I don't want to learn new chord shapes.
Yeah.
I already know the chord shapes for a ukulele, a guitar, a dulcimer, and a mandolin. I can't learn more. If I try to learn more, my brain's going to die. So I went down this mandocello rabbit hole and saw some cool videos, and then I found the octave mandolins. And I thought this might be a solution to my solo problems. Playing a regular mandolin is so grating on the nerves after several songs because it's so high in the register. So
Well, I played a mandolin in Killbillies for the longest time, and it's fine when you've got the rest of the band around you. But if it's just you, it's you can't do it. It's like playing like a piccolo and with nothing else around you. You're pretty out there, like in the open. You know what I mean? I can totally relate to that.
It's just not something that people are used to hearing. So when I was playing solo shows, I was playing guitar 3/4 of the show, and I don't like to play the guitar. No drag on the guitar players out there. I just don't enjoy that. So this thing, it popped up, and it's a bouzouki style. So it's cool because it's an octave mandolin. It's got a guitar body, but it's bouzouki style, and it's got 2 octave paired string sets. So usually mandolins are just paired strings of the same tuning, 4 sets of paired strings. But this thing's got an octave pair, and on the bottom 2 strings.
Nice.
And it's really a
and
full
then
sound.
2 doubles, right?
Yeah, 2.
What
the other 2 are
is it tuned the same as what's the tuning?
No, so the tuning of a mandolin is the opposite of a bass. So you flip a bass upside down.
Right, and is it just the same as the normal mandolin, but you just also have strings down an octave?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. It's the
exactly.
same exact tuning, so all the same chord shapes as the regular mandolin, but it's really nice because it's got those 2 low strings, those 2 low paired strings with that octave pairing. That absolutely is a game changer. It sounds like a guitar and a mandolin
Gives you a
playing together.
guitar E.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't. The E's are high, but they're
the
still
other way.
they're still lower than, I believe they're still lower than a guitar high E.
Right.
But it's
Right.
it's the
That
G
big
and
G's
the D.
that those big G's you were playing, like that you can play on that thing, just they sound
they're
great.
full.
They're so
it sounds
full.
just like a
very
guitar's
cool.
G.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
So it's made by Goldtone. It's unbelievable. I shopped so many different brands. I was looking at $1,500, $2,000 options, and this one was a little bit less than that, and it's a game changer. I mean, it makes me well. And I'm a loser because things like that make me well. A good mandolin makes me well. So
I don't
not
know.
at all.
Quality instruments are
Yeah,
quality
absolutely.
instruments are a huge thing. I always say it. Like
Huge.
you can be a good player. A crappy instrument's gonna play crappy. It's not gonna sound good. It's not gonna ring out the same way.
No, and you get confidence out of it. I mean, I was playing the stand-up bass that I started on, and then I went out and bought that other stand-up bass. It was like whatever it was, $1,700-$1,800.
1,000 times different.
It's just a quality instrument.
Yep.
How much did my confidence just jump as soon as I started playing
Absolutely.
that way?
Yeah.
Same when I
You
bought
know?
my banjo.
it's a huge game changer when you have a good piece of gear. I've been very notorious for having horrible crap gear. I mean, I was the worst. No one's ever been worse about crap gear. I started on a $60 Rogue mandolin in like 2008. I was like, I'm gonna start playing mandolin just because I was so obsessed with Nickel Creek and Chris Thile. I'm
Right.
like, I love Chris Thile. I'm gonna start playing mandolin, and I just ordered one because I just wasn't obsessed with it. I was into it. This thing was
Did you ever
60
sit there
bucks.
and try and learn Jessamine's Reel?
Who?
Jessamine's Reel.
Yeah, have you ever heard that song Jessamine's Reel by Chris Thile?
No, but he's amazing. Everything he does is gold.
I
That's
tell you what,
amazing.
if anything sticks from anything I'd say today, go and listen to that song. It's the only time I've ever heard it was on a promotional video for Dario Strings, and he plays this thing called Jessamine's Reel. It's a solo reel, right? But it's very jazzy. It doesn't sound like your average kind of bluegrass reel. It sounds more like a jazz piece, and it's so cool. And that was really when I 100% fell in love with Chris Thiele's playing, and
he's
I learned how to
unbelievable.
play it. It took me ages to learn how to play it because I still wasn't very good at the mandolin. But it was like it made me so much better just learning that piece. You should check it out, man. It's super cool.
I'm 100% gonna do it. And,
Jessamine's Reel is one of my favorite ones that we do.
he's unbelievable. He's so good, and that's the only reason that I started doing it. And I was bored in Stewart. I was living in Stewart, and I'm like, I'm so bored. There's nothing to do. What am I going to do with my life? Because Stewart at that time, 12 years ago or whatever, there's just nothing going on there. And I was so bored. I was like, what the hell am I going to do? And I was bored. I was playing in some punk bands, some metal bands. But it just wasn't like working for me. And I was writing songs on the guitar, and I'm not a guitarist. I'm like, this isn't working for me. Something's wrong. I need to. This is not the instrument I'm supposed to play. And I got that mandolin, that $60 mandolin, and that made my life make sense. But it was such a piece of crap. I mean, it was, and I beat this thing up. It was horrible. I still have it. And then I got my dad got me a mandolin for Christmas that is unbranded. Nobody knows who made it.
Yes.
He got this thing on Amazon from some little shop that had gotten on Amazon. This blue mandolin. It's in my pictures for Upswell. Nobody knows who made it. Nobody knows. I took it to Wolf Guitar a few years ago. I said, yo, I got problems with these tuners. They don't make these tuners. Nobody knows who made this. Some guy made this like in his basement.
Yes.
There's no brand.
That's amazing.
He's like, the tuners have no brand? Nothing on this mandolin has a brand. He's like, pull up the store that you bought it from. I pull up the store that my dad got it from.
Some guy in South America with a weird lathe has just made these tuners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then my dad pulls up the store, out of business. Gone, doesn't exist anymore. And it's just absurd. So I've had some
probably
dice
this 100-year-old guy who was doing it and died off.
It's like a Disney movie, though, right? Like somebody made one mandolin, and it was the special
Yeah.
magic
Yes.
mandolin that they sold your dad.
Yes.
It was the mandolin of destiny.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
This is the
Have you ever
mandolin
tried
of
to
destiny.
plant it and see if a beanstalk grows? You should do that.
I mean, it was like the special magic, and it's a magic mandolin that opens the portal to the afterlife, like Coco.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm in. So yeah, pretty much that's how that. I've had a lot of bootleg gear. The Ovation was the first decent mandolin that I had, but this gold tone, another level.
Oh no, sounds amazing. So
what's I just sorry to interrupt you, Hector. What I was going to say was the thing that kind of ties in with that question is early influences, like what kind of music you listened to, and what kind of things were you exposed to when you were young? You know, what kind of got you into music when you were young?
My mom did not allow anything to be played in the car or in the house other than, oldies is the easy way to say it, but really she loved the Beatles, and the Beatles were my favorite band immediately. She started to open the door a little bit to some other things. And then the second artist that I really fell in love with was Elton John. So the first album I ever owned, the first anything I ever owned was a tape, and it was Elton John's Greatest Hits.
Nice.
nothing wrong with that.
And then it was The Lion King. The Lion King soundtrack is Elton John. So those are the first two tapes. I staged myself. And those are the first two tapes I owned. And then she started buying me some Beatles tapes. And then she started opening the door a little bit to some Herman's Hermits, some Monkees. That's about as far as the door opened for a long time. And my dad would listen to traditional music, mariachi, things like that. So I would listen to some different Latin and Mexican music when we were growing up, because he was very he was very into our heritage, and definitely we listened to that a lot. But that was it. And then my dad started playing a lot of Zydeco. When we would go we would go to Florida. Every time we would go to Florida, my dad would play Zydeco because he lived in New Orleans for a while. And looking back, I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with Florida? He's like, oh, we got to put on the Zydeco. We're on our way to Florida. Like, what? What?
It's good driving music. It is weird. I like the funny thing about Zydeco is I don't think there's a style of music in the world where there is more bad music, but there is some great Zydeco out there.
I'm in pain.
know what I mean?
I'm in pain.
I've heard him say that before.
I'm in pain. I'm in pain. You know who would love that comment? Frank would love that comment. Would love that comment. No, I do like that.
There's a lot of good stuff out there, but like there is, I've got CDs where like there's 2 or 3 tunes on there that are great and like 20 terrible tunes.
Well, you know, this is where we briefly disagree, because I do love Zydeco, but not I wouldn't say it's an influence over anything I've written yet. But I will say it opened the doors to some interesting instruments that I wanted to. Can
you like point me towards some good Zydeco so I can stop being so opinionated about it?
Yes, check your email tonight, because I'm going to forward you my Christmas Zydeco playlist.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yes.
That sounds like another
100%.
level of cheese.
It's going to be good.
That sounds good, actually.
But honestly, like, I started on oldies music. I stayed on oldies. So the Beatles and Elton John, they were the first 2 people I listened to for so long. And then when I went into high school, I was living in Georgia, driving a truck. I got into country music. I got into a little bit of hip hop, and then when I went to college, things
Don't
got
blame it on the
weird.
truck. Don't
Oh,
blame
the
it on
truck
the
is
truck.
to blame. I asked for a Toyota Celica, and I'm very lucky that I got the truck because the Celica was old and it was busted. And my dad's like, "I'm gonna get you the truck because it's like in better condition, and you're gonna be able to drive this without it breaking down." Because I saw the Celica, I'm like, "Oh," and this thing was old. Not classic old, just old. Classical is cool.
There's a difference for sure.
There's a big
Oh,
difference.
there's
But my
huge
dad's
difference.
like, I
Just
think I
terrible
want
old.
I want to know that you're gonna get where you try to go. So I'm gonna get you a vehicle that
Old,
like it's
old
functional.
like my Toyota Sequoia. Old. That
Oh
kind
no,
of
this thing was this is bootleg. It was bootleg.
For someone to pick an American vehicle over
No.
a Toyota, that's
No,
it must
no,
have
that
been
was
pretty old.
No, that's another Toyota. That's a Toyota Celica. It's another Japanese vehicle, but it was like 15 years old.
Oh, it was just an old. I thought it was an
No,
American
no.
truck.
No,
thought it was-
I learned that lesson later. That's all right. We're not gonna get into that. But yeah, no, my dad he got me the truck, and I started acting a little rednexican. You know, I started to get a little rednexican, and I started doing some things and acting like a clown in Georgia. But country music became something I was into. It wasn't until when I went to college I got into indie, and indie is what put me where I am. You know, indie pop and a little surf rock and all these weird indie surf crossover genres like the indie alt rock and stuff like that. That's where I went and stayed, and that's been my favorite. I mean, I listen to every kind of music there is.
Yeah.
But country music.
I hate to sound ignorant, especially
Oldies.
living in Florida, but like, what exactly would you say defines surf rock?
Traditional surf rock, like oldies surf rock, is very reverb drenched guitar, garage band type stuff. It's got a lot of repetitive, notes, but it's got a lot of like progressions up the scale, and then a lot of just work on the low string, the low E. There's a lot of work on the low E. And
Okay, so
Yeah.
so like that classic kind of '60s sort of like
Exactly.
type thing. Is that what?
Yeah.
That's not what you're talking about, right? Is it?
Miserloo is the quintessential surf rock song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The next would be Walk Don't Run. Again, that's all Dick Dale and Ventures.
The Hawaii 5-0 theme song.
100%. But like the
Okay, so like so that kind of instrumental stuff with
Instrumental.
with the reverb. I got
and a lot of the bass lines are
Agent Orange.
The bass lines are repetitive in some ways, and they come off of, a lot of them come off of, I think it's more like with like blues, you go to like the one, you start on the one, whereas like with surf rock, like a lot of times you don't start on the two. Delete this out
Okay.
tomorrow if I'm wrong, because I don't know shit about theory. So let's just delete.
Well,
that
no,
whole
I'm
part.
just
Delete that
interested because I kind of thought that there was like, because I know about like that kind of surf music, but I thought there was like, you know, something I was missing. Like there's like a kind of surf, like I thought you might be talking like Jack Johnson type kind of thing.
No, so Jack Johnson, he's like he started
Jack
off
Johnson.
as like an acoustic singer-songwriter indie pop guy, and then he moved out indie very fast. There's nothing indie about
Right.
him, and there hasn't been for a long time. But basically
Yeah.
but classic surf rock was Dick Dale and Ventures. Sure. Very reverb drenched garage rock, very guitar driven. The bass lines were very structured, but also they really stayed true to a pattern. And the drum beats were all
Right.
dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
Yeah, they
So-
had that like that.
Okay,
double
yeah, I
high-
know what
the
you
double
mean.
snare.
I think I was thinking that there was something else out there that I wasn't aware of, but I know
No,
exactly what you mean.
no,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
pretty-
Thanks for
it's-
clarifying that for me.
Yeah, no, it's pretty obvious. It's like you know, if you're thinking that it's too obvious, that's exactly what it is, though. I mean, that's exactly what surf rock is.
Exactly.
So
That's classic surf rock. So classic surf rock is that, and funny enough, like I played in a surf rock and oldies band, and I kind of converted that band into an oldies band. It started as a surf rock, pure dedicated Link Ray, you know, Dick Dale, and that was like where it stayed. And then when I said, you know, we got to start playing more shows. Like we got to get some vocals
the
in here.
Stradolites.
The Stradolites,
Yeah.
yeah. And I started saying, let's get some vocals. Let's just start doing some Johnny Rivers. So we started with Johnny Rivers, and we went to Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
And then we started adding in some other oldies and some stuff like that, and it went really well. It was nice. But that's old school oldies type surf rock. Then there's like indie surf. Yeah. So different, another planet, whole nother place. So when I had posted,
Right, I guess that's what I was kind of trying to get at.
I posted.
Like, what is that? Like, who's good with that?
It's so different. It's so different. I had posted a Craigslist ad trying to create an indie surf band. And that's how I linked in with this surf rock band.
Okay.
But
Right.
indie surf is like, okay, there's a great band that they're all from, what's that really awesome music school in West Palm? Remember that?
What, Dreyfus?
Dreyfus. So they're all Dreyfus kids. They were called, they still are, they're still active, Surfer Blood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I know Surfer
Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah.
Local kids.
Yeah. Shout out to
And-
Surfer
I spoke
Blood.
to those
guys
guys.
are
They're coming
Those
on
guys
here.
are
We're
awesome.
going to have them on.
Incredible band.
Yeah.
If you have them on, I will be here whether you let me in or not. I will be here waiting outside like this. Like,
Security.
no.
Nerding out.
I spoke to him last
security
week.
that can
We're
get me
going to have him on in September. You should come down and hang out for sure.
I'm obsessed with Surfer Blood. I'm
Yeah,
obsessed.
Those guys are good.
I'm
Those guys
obsessed
are
with
really
them.
good.
So they are absolutely the prototype of indie surf music.
I
It's
saw those
very
guys.
reverby.
I saw those guys years ago. And when I say years ago, I mean it's probably been at least 10 years, if not longer. At Respectables, just a small little like
I saw them at Respectables
Oh.
like 5 years ago.
yeah. Those guys are really good.
They're incredible.
If you haven't listened to them, Ben, give them a listen. I think you'll like it.
Oh, I have. I know who they are.
Yeah.
They're
unbelievable.
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're really good.
So they are absolutely one of they're one of my top 3 favorite bands for sure. And they
Okay,
rock.
so that's kind of what I was driving at. Like, you know, obviously that kind of 60s sort of ventures type stuff. I know about, and when you were saying surf rock, I was wondering what you meant, and I guess you did mean that, but you also kind of meant this like kind of where it mixes with indie and Surfer Blood. Okay, I get where we're going with this now. It makes sense to me now. I get you.
Cayucas, another great band, Local Natives. Those are my top 3 influences as far as what I think my stuff sounds like. Maybe some metric, but those early influences, the Beatles and Elton John, and that's where I learned like catchy shit, harmony.
Yeah.
You
Same here.
you gotta do stuff that sticks in people's heads.
Yeah, it makes them want to sing
But
along.
there's a lot of indie bands that I love. That I love their technical nature. I love the way that they twist music theory and fuck with it. But they don't necessarily have those things that stick in your head.
That catchy. Yep. No, that fades into you. I even wrote it on the thing. That one has a lot of sing along to it. Like you want to sing along to that one.
it does.
It's got like a lot
It
of
does.
that. Like
I find myself wanting to harmonize with it in the car.
yeah,
man,
I
all the
was.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think those are the most important things. Is when people walk away from a show and they've only heard you once and they're singing your songs or at least humming the melody.
It's gotta happen.
That's a great feeling.
It's gotta happen.
That's what you want them to do because that makes that they're gonna like think about it later. And be like, oh, I had that really cool melody, and they'll look them up later. But if you were just fun to watch a little bit and then you left and that was it, they're gonna forget about it.
So as far as I mean, since we're on the subject of your songs and stuff, do you have a writing process? Like, is there kind of a process that you follow, or is it just kind of?
Especially you seem
Does
to
it change?
write
You know,
a broad
does it
scale of
change?
stuff.
I've written so many songs that it's kind of weird. I've written like 50 plus songs. I've recorded 6. One's a Christmas song. That's right. I know you might not have heard the Christmas
7 because you're gonna record another one in a little bit.
Exactly. It's gonna
She's the opposite of Elvis. We were just discussing before the show that
Right.
Elvis has written nothing
Exactly.
and has recorded 750 songs.
Oh, good for him. And it's like, okay, I need to flip the script in some way.
Does your music usually come first, or does your like lyrics come first? Which one usually comes first?
I
for you?
would say that probably 75% of the songs I've written, I'm just walking around living my life, and I'm like, oops, something just got in my head.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel that.
I mean, it comes into my brain out of nowhere, and my voice memos on my iPhone are quintessential. I was driving here, and like doing the horrible detour around North Lake, and I was grouchy because I just got I had a bunch of phone calls before I came here that I didn't want to take, and I'm on my way here, and I'm like, I think I might have just written the introduction to Wrong Generation.
Nice.
And so I recorded.
Oh, sick.
It comes in my head. But here's the problem. I don't know a lot about music theory. I only took a few lessons. I took some lessons on piano, and then I took a few lessons on guitar. And when I met my guitar teacher in middle school, he's like, all right, we're going to start with music theory. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I just want to learn how to play metal and punk songs. He's like, all right, I don't care. I'm getting paid. You can do whatever you want to do.
Terrible
and so
teacher.
literally this guy just taught me how to play. He taught me how to read tabs, don't get me wrong. And he taught me a few things I needed to know. And then he just taught me Metallica songs and Lagwagon songs and No Use for a Name songs. And I only had lessons for like, I don't know, maybe 3 months. And my dad one day is like, oh, I want to hear what you've been learning. And I'm like, all right. And I play like Enter Sandman. He's like, yeah, it's like, no.
No.
This is not working for me. And I didn't want to like throw him under the bus, but I didn't know what to say. And he's like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. You're not having any more guitar lessons. So I've really only had maybe like 10 lessons for guitar, maybe 20 lessons for piano. And then as an adult human, I had a couple bass lessons like later on trying to work on advanced stuff. My music theory knowledge is very small.
I'm right there with you.
I
Three
play
of
by
us
ear.
at this table right now.
I play
For
by
once, we are the dominants.
Yeah,
There
I've
we
been
are.
playing bass for 30 plus years, and there's very, very limited theory knowledge that I could sit here and discuss with you.
I play by
Well,
ear.
I don't think it really makes a difference. All it does is make your songs sound different. It certainly has no basis on whether you'll be successful or not. That's for sure. Or write a good song or not.
Well,
you know,
I will
it's sure it might mean that you use more interesting chords or understand how the chords go together or stuff like that. But sometimes that naivety is really important in music and charming, and sometimes it makes the song. Sometimes making a mistake, can make a song. You know?
Sure.
So I don't think that having a really, really broad understanding of music theory is important in terms of writing pop and rock. But I mean, I think it can help, but it can also hinder, honestly. You get so tied up in it that you start thinking you have to do this and do that, and you end up writing some, weird convoluted music. So I
He's so dead on.
all I know
This
is
is
from
true.
listening to the music that you've written, it certainly doesn't show. You obviously hash it out until you get the notes that you wanted to play, which is all that matters,
Yeah.
This is very true because I've written with groups of musicians. It's like when before you were in Killbillies, and it was like everybody was in there as solid musicians, and it was like, wow, you guys are just adding shit in here to make this crazy, aren't you?
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
he's so dead on though about it can help you, it can hurt you.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Yeah.
was going to say is so as a writer that's written the majority of my songs by ear, now that I've tried to learn more music theory so that I can become a better solo player, so that I can play better licks on the mandolin. Because I said, a year ago today, can you believe a year ago today we were still in the Rona world in the clown city, like
Mind-blowing.
horrible. And I was just trying to get Fox and Foes out there in person, and stuff was like reopening and then closing again. And it's so funny because I see those like time hop memories and stuff like that. And I just can't believe that was just a year ago. It feels like 500 years ago because my brain deleted all of it.
Yep.
But the weird thing is I said to myself, okay, I got to get better at picking. I got to be able to solo more because I don't know who I'm going to have for any given show. What if someone gets the Rona? What if I got to play by myself? And I didn't ever really play by myself. So I started working really hard on music theory and picking and trying to do scales and all those things. But as a self-taught ear player, it really changed. I won't say it messed up. It changed my songwriting process.
Absolutely.
Because like sand on Upswell,
Yep.
which I'm re-releasing sometime in the next several months with Mike Sanchez, who y'all probably know. So Mike Sanchez and I are doing a remix of Sand called Hot Sand.
Oh, that'll be cool.
And we're doing a
Yeah.
completely rethought version of that. It's got a bunch of cool stuff in it.
Nice.
And we're doing a video for it and everything. And that'll be like, we don't know when. It'll happen soon. But
Cool.
Sand, I wrote by ear, just messing with stuff. And when I took that to Absolute Music Studios to record it, he's like, tell me about the change from C to A sharp.
You're like,
Can't tell you about that.
You're like, I didn't know there was an A sharp in the song.
I
like,
can't tell
I
you about
honestly
that.
just went to this position.
I'm like, I really can't tell you that because I don't really know how this happened. I was drinking a couple beverages
And it just
and
sounded
messing around
good.
with some chords.
and I thought
Have
it
you seen
sounded
that? Have
good.
you seen that meme which says there's the two different types of guitarists? One is it's in the key of G, and the other's it's in the key of fret 3. That always
Yes.
makes me laugh.
Yes. That's me.
And I
I'm
was
the
basically like, I
second
don't know what
one.
just
I
happened.
am a fret 3, baby.
And he's like, what just happened? I'm like, I don't really know what just happened.
That's why I can't play my bass songs on banjo.
I am
Yeah.
like, and I'm sitting over here going like, what's a fret?
A fret. I know.
Oh, stop it! You're pretty good.
A fret. Yeah. I fret about frets often. But honest to God, like I've been writing a song the last couple weeks that I find myself thinking in music theory and being like, well, I have to write the change in this chord and this key. And I got to go to this chord. I'm like, stop. No, well, you got to get back to the old days.
Yeah.
Got to get back to the old days. So I think that the songs that I write with the music theory in mind are probably more marketable. So somebody else is going to record all of them.
That's funny.
And then I need to go back in time and I need to become dumb and forget all the music theory and rewrite all the next stuff.
What I've realized about listening to your music is it's not that, I mean, the thing is, there's only so many hours in the day, and it's not that I purposely did it, but I definitely underestimated how good you are at writing songs. And sometimes it just comes from, that ability to do it, to have a good idea, to understand how a hook works and how to spin everything together. It doesn't really require exhaustive knowledge of music theory.
Very true.
It's just you either have an ear for it or you don't. And you do have an ear for it, which is
Yeah.
this wondrful thing.
Yeah, your hooks are catchy.
Cool.
Thank you. I'm just a writer
Yeah.
that accidentally got a mandolin in their hands.
So yeah, so then that brings us to the next question, and there's no right or wrong answer to this. We just like to ask it.
I'm still
and
going to give you
see-
the wrong answer.
and see- there's no
We
wrong
just like
answer.
to make you feel
We just
awkward.
want to know. We ask everybody, and it's kind of funny the different the different across the board answers we get. But do you practice?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm a freak. I got problems. I got a lot of problems with this. I only exclusively date musicians because
Is this how you practice?
about 2 years ago. Well, that's for a different podcast.
That's for the other
That's
podcast.
a different we discussed that podcast and we will have that another time.
There are so many things I could say that I'm just not going to say.
There's so many things I could say, and I'm definitely not going to say. But honest to God, about 2 or 3 years ago, I said to myself, because I was a professional athlete for 8 years. I wasted 8 years of my good music years playing pro football and hockey.
Well, I wouldn't say that that's a waste.
Oh, I
mean,
don't know. I mean, I don't
pretty
know.
awesome.
I hurt myself a lot.
That's pretty BA.
I made
I'm
a very
not gonna lie.
Seriously.
Like,
I made
think that's a
an
waste.
amount of money that's not acceptable for the injuries I incurred.
I mean, I'm ex-military, and I think that you're badass. So,
it was very cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
I feel
was
so
very
weak
fun.
at this
I'm
table sitting between
ex-vegan
the two of you
grosser, and I think
guys.
you're pretty badass. So,
It was very
That was-
cool, but it definitely it slowed me down on my musical journey. I
Sure.
took a massive hiatus. I'm a very late bloomer because I spent 8 years living an entirely different life. Basically, I think
Yeah.
of it as I've lived multiple lives.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived a whole nother life as an athlete that I can't even like process in my mind whole. And maybe that's
what
because I've had 9
exactly was
concussions.
going on with that? Who
I
did
feel
you
like
play
that could
for?
be the concussion talking. It's possible.
I'm really curious about this athletic period of your life. Did you play for a team in Florida?
I did. I played for the Palm Beach Punishers, RIP. They went out of business in 2013.
Anything that's
Right.
Punishers sounds amazing.
Right.
It was fun, very fun.
Yeah.
Great people on that team. And then I played for the Miami Fury, incredible franchise. We went to the playoffs. We lost the Super Bowl winners 2 years in a row. I played for 2 years with Miami Fury. They were great. And I played with the U.S. national team, which is very cool. We went to Sweden, won a gold medal.
Pretty freaking awesome.
Little repeat.
Damn, that's awesome.
Little
Yeah.
repeat. We repeat. So we beat Canada 2010, beat Canada again 2013. This is the
What are you
Canada.
talking about?
This is the 2010 ring. The 2013 ring is too big. Can't be worn.
Like,
by
okay,
me.
okay, at this table, no one can wear that badass of a ring. I'm just fucking saying, okay?
Yeah,
was
it's
cool.
true, man.
I kind of.
It was cool, but
I see it?
I mean, of course.
I see it? I
but
totally wanna
I
talk
am
about
like
it.
Gollum with this thing, though. So if you wear it for too long, I'm gonna have a problem.
James is like, oh, it's too heavy.
I didn't know which one to put it
It's
on.
gonna be pinky. It's gonna be a pinky ring.
Yeah,
I'm
not
calling
for
it
me.
right. Really?
No, this is
I'm
almost.
surprised.
This is I have very
dainty.
tiny fingers.
He's a banjo player, man. He's got like slick
this
fingers.
is my ring finger on this. This I feel fucking tough. Wait, get a close up of this thing. Look at this.
Well, to be fair,
I
you feel better about like being in a dicey bar when you got that on.
Yeah, I
You
just
don't
feel
got
like
that
I
on.
could get
Yeah.
away with
weapon.
doing like anything with this on. Like someone looks, I'm
No,
just like,
no, you can't get away with nothing because if you punch someone, it says USA backwards.
yeah, but
on
like
their
you don't have to
forehead.
punch somebody. All you gotta do is just like
Well,
wiggle it with your pinky a little.
you don't
like you
even do
get
that.
pulled over and you're just like,
do you want to see the move? You go like this. You go. You tap the
Yeah.
bar. You tap the bar with the ring. That's how I get a guy
Yeah.
that really
Oh,
needs to
totally.
take it easy.
yeah, because like literally, dude, you see this from across the bar and you're gonna be like, man, that's a Super Bowl ring.
If a guy really needs to take it easy, then that's the way it goes. Like if a guy needs
That's
to
cool,
take it
man.
easy to settle down, then that's the way it goes. I swear there was
That's
an
super
actual
cool.
topic that led to this. Like
I don't know how we got on the Super Bowl ring.
We were asking if you practice, and you said
Yeah.
you only
So-
date musicians.
So basically, I practice a lot. I definitely play. I mean, I do have a day job. I work. I'm working in the real estate industry all day, but I play all the time. I play every day. I either sing or play or work on music every single day.
Nice.
And I got to a point where I was dating regular guys that were doing various things, and I'm like, this isn't working for me. They don't get it. They're like, wait a minute, you go
Yeah.
out 3 nights a week to either play or see other bands, and that's all you do? I'm like, yeah, I don't go out unless I'm doing that. Or I sit on my couch for hours on end, and I thought, like, we got to stop. It's time. It's time to just only start dating musicians, which is a double-edged sword.
Because
It's
then
a
you have to
double-edged
deal with the
sword.
same problems.
Because I got guys that understood my passion and they understood why I spend all the time doing it, but I also was dating musicians. So that's the other double-edged sword.
It is.
Yeah. I don't think we're a particularly easy bunch, let's be honest.
No, but their unwellness I can relate to in a way that I can't with, these other people.
Yeah.
So
We're rather emotional creatures,
emotional
I guess-
is okay. Emotional is okay. We're all
And
emotional.
a lot of us are pretty sketchy when it comes to dealing with life, but as we mature, I think we get a bit better.
Right?
Well, my sweet spot is men. Now I've moved the men age from 45 to 50. Like once you guys hit 50,
Oh,
I
there
feel
you
like
go.
you got to start to figure it out. I think y'all start to figure it
that
out at
makes a lot of
50.
sense.
I don't know. I'm turning 50 this year, and I don't know shit from
Wait,
anything.
you might on day one of 50, you might be like, wait a minute,
Is
I
it a
got
light?
it. I got it.
Is it a light switch? Like on my birthday,
It
am I
must
gonna
be.
go?
Yes.
Aha!
I think
It's
you're gonna be
it's
like,
the
wait a minute,
halfway
I've
light
got it.
switch. It just
I
like
don't know.
instantly says like, boom.
I don't
Now,
know.
when you
Gotta
turn
figure it out.
40, you feel like the light switch is moving, but the breaker trips. So like you know what to do, but it doesn't work.
I'll
Like
tell you,
50 now is my new range.
everybody's always asking my kids, like, what do you want to do when you grow up, etc. And I, my wife and I are always saying the exact same thing. We're like, how are they going to know what they want to do when they grow up? Like, I'm turning 50 this year, and I have no fucking clue what I want to do when I grow up.
I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a comedy show host or a deep sea
Oh, yeah.
diver.
That's amazing.
Those are my two answers. My mom asks me all the time. She's like, I don't understand. You're not a deep sea diver. I'm like, no, never going to happen. She's like, you kind of are a comedy show host. You play music and you act like a clown. I'm like, thank you, Mom.
For the Sally Show.
Yeah,
Sally Fox Maple Clown Brigade, like tequila show.
I like it.
That's a show that happens 3 times a week.
I could dig it. I've been in that. I've been
You know,
part of
one
that
the
show a couple
important
times.
things about playing around here that you do very well is you bring a party to a venue. And I think a lot of people underestimate how important that is as an entertainer, to show up somewhere and actually make the people in the bar have more fun than they were previously having.
absolutely.
You definitely do
Yes.
that. And it's cool, and it's why you stay busy, and it's one of the reasons why you stay busy, and it's it's something that, I've been doing this a long time, and sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes you just want to go there and phone it in. You want to go there and just like play the music and then go home. But actually, you're there to entertain, and that's something you take seriously. And I think that's pretty cool. So that's all I've got to say about that.
Thankfully, I'm surrounded by clown women. All my girlfriends are clowns, and they bring more clowns out. So when I go to book a venue, I'm like, hey, you see all these women over here that are clowns and they're drinking a lot of beverages? I was like, yeah, we love them. I'm like, those are my people.
Right.
And they're like,
there you go.
and I have friends of mine, they're like, tell me about this venue. And I was like, listen, man, you got to bring some clowns out to that venue. That's a clown venue. And they're like, ooh, I don't have clowns. I'm like,
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to bring a group of women out, because if you bring the women out, the guys will follow, and then the venue's packed.
I bring an unusually large amount of under 35 single women that don't act properly in public.
Wow.
It sounds a little old-fashioned, but unfortunately, it's still true. If you do that, not unfortunately, it's just a thing.
Oh, it's fact.
True. If you bring a bunch of ladies to a venue, you're going to get a bunch of people coming to the venue. It's just how it is.
And I do that by putting time into debauchery. I spend my time.
Yay for debauchery.
Like, I'm going to go out and see a band, so I'm going to multitask, and I'm going to recruit new women into the clown brigade. But I'm also going to see this band that I like and get to know these guys, and like we're going to have a good time. Everyone's going to do well.
There you go.
Things are going to be good.
Man.
I want to see the poster of the Clown Brigade.
Yes.
I know. I feel like you should rename your band.
12-month calendar of the Clown Brigade.
9 different albums on my phone of women acting like friggin' Johnny Green clowns. I mean, there's a million.
Well, on the topic.
Listen, Sally, would you mind playing us some music? Do you think?
I think I could do that.
Awesome.
Hey, and listen, guys, the sun has just come up here in England, so I'm going to sign out because I need to go to bed. So
the sun
it's
has
literally
just come up.
Light outside right now.
All right, you got it, man.
So I'm going to go, but rock out, Sally, and I'll see you all soon. And peace. Take it easy.
Wednesday, misty day for the subway. Walking fast down the hallway, never can be on time. You'd say plan ahead for a good day. Please excuse all the wordplay, never is the right time. To left feet, everything's hard enough for the hardy. Highly distracted and I'm feeling rough. Well, it's you. Walking around in my head, world renowned. Well, it's you. You're looking good on the bad side of town. Go hard, all those Hollywood show hards, Frank Sinatra's and Bogarts, looking at me that way. I know everyone needs someone they can just lay on, looking at them that way. And I know everything you see filters through rosy illusions, and when you see me you must see a friend. Well, it's you walking around in my head, world renowned. Well, it's you. You're looking good on the bad side of town. should have listened to all those other musicians. They ain't nothing like me. So tell me why would their path be? I know I'm the wrong generation. They're looking for younger creations. Maybe I'll tell a tale and they'll like the resale, but I just as soon let it ride. Know I got a bad reputation. I understand your trepidation, but a woman can change, leave the free range. She's got a good reason to go. Maybe I should have listened to all those on-stage magicians. They can sure play a little, but I ain't never heard them write a song that could stick. I know I'm the wrong generation. So many years of frustration, standing my ground, staying true to my sound. Variety is better than No, I'm the wrong generation. So many years of frustration, but I'm standing my ground, staying true to myself. Notoriety is better than fame.
So, James, our sponsor this week is Handlebars Bar and Grill in Tequesta.
Handlebars.
Yes, they're a pretty fantastic place. And
I've heard they have good food. I've heard they have a really good, like a Sammy, a good
Tremendous.
very good.
Yeah,
So here
I
to tell
haven't
us,
been yet.
here to tell us all about it is Ben. Take it away, Ben.
Yeah, we have a so Handlebars Bar and Grill has it's now the official sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah.
They're sponsoring us every week, which is just so great. And honestly, we couldn't do this without sponsorship. So we're incredibly grateful. It's a biker bar up in Tequesta, right on the border of Palm Beach County and Martin County on US 1 there. And it's a biker bar, so if you have a bike, roll up on your bike and you'll get to see a whole load of cool different types of vehicles there. You have people showing up in rat rods and old sports cars and classic cars and all sorts of interesting stuff, as well as across the board, interesting bikes, vintage bikes, new ones like crotch rockets, all the way to kind of like beautiful old Triumphs and BSAs and stuff like that. So if you're if you are into cars and bikes, you couldn't want for a better place. The other good thing about it is that it now has live music on Saturdays from 7 to 10 p.m. on Sundays from 2 to 5 p.m. and every second Thursday we have a bike night. I'm involved with it. It's my father-in-law who basically has rejuvenated the place. It used to be called Judy's, and I'm helping any way I can. I'm helping him book the music and I've little bits and bobs here and there, but it's really my father-in-law Peter Pinello who is running the show up there, and he's doing a great job. So come and support us, because it is 100% local musicians, local staff, locally owned, locally run, and we would love to have your support up there.
A lot of good beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of good food.
Yeah, if you're if you're hungry, we've got a chef who's been there for 2 or 3 weeks now and has really settled in, has just made the place his own, and we have a huge selection of beers, because Judy's was known for having loads of interesting German beers on tap, and we've tried to keep that going, so we've got a great selection of beer there as well. And really the only things wrong with the place prior to us taking it over was it was just getting a bit run down, and we've done is we've modernized it a bit, updated it a bit, cleaned it up. The beer's cold, the food's delicious, everything's run properly and professionally. We built a big deck out the front, and it's it's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. So those were some amazing songs, Sally. Why don't you tell us about us? Tell us about them, rather.
Thank you. Good on the Bad Side is from Upswell. I just released Upswell at the very end of February. I'm excited that I got it out in 2021.
I was gonna say this year, right?
Yeah.
And that's the first song, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I really was ambitious trying to get it out in 2020, but 2020 was a horrific time for all of the things. So while I was able to get a single out, I was able to get Around You out in 2020. We got everything out for Upswell in 2021 in February. It was awesome. And that song, Good on the Bad Side, is a really cool song. I had a really good time writing it. It had a lot of different influences to it. But, that whole album, it was an EP, but there's a couple songs on there that are long. Sand and Tequila are both 6-minute songs. So it really feels like maybe a 7-minute a 7-song album, because of those 6-minute songs.
Because you got 2 metal songs on there.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting. It's definitely.
I'm a punk band.
Totally.
That's 3 songs.
Right. I mean, and because of my punk and metal background, that's part of it. But also, I mean, Tequila it's 2 songs in one. It's a surf rock anthem a surf rock indie pop anthem. It's really on another level, it's going a lot of places. Sand is just it's definitely an indie pop song, but it's got a hip hop quality to it as well, which is kind of unusual.
Sand reminded me of a Pixies song.
For sure.
Honestly, a lot of yours had a lot of very Pixies sound to it.
I do like the
It had a lot of that
Good
airy
call.
feel, and I enjoyed that a lot. First thing I thought when I was going through it was that was to me a lot of the influence that it felt like to me. Just a lot, especially that surfy, kind of spacey feel to it.
That song Sand is gonna be cool. We're doing a re-release. That's gonna be in the next several months. My friend Mike Sanchez we're gonna be doing that in the next several months. That's gonna be a very cool re-release because it's gonna have a lot of different vibes on it. Yeah. And that re-release is gonna be awesome on Sand. But Tequila is that's my soul song. I mean, that's my soul song. If anyone ever wants to get to know me as a person, listen to Tequila. But to play Good on the Bad Side was a little bit of an emotional exorcism song. So it's fun to play that.
I like the strong vocals in that one.
It's a fun song.
Yeah, it's very fun. There's a lot of strong vocals. And on the recording, and even here, the energy build from the first verse to the second verse to the third, to the finishing and the ending, it's huge. And your energy gets louder, your voice gets stronger and more powerful as you go through it, because you get emotional through it, and you can kind of feel that as you're going through it. And that's what makes that one that was my favorite song on the album, because that one was it just got so even almost with an edge and grindy at the end of it, and I like that.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite too. It just I don't know why, it just kind of grabs you, and you have to sing along with it.
Yep.
It's really cool.
I like the ba-ba-bas.
Yeah.
I love backing vocals.
I wanted to have a retro oldies feel.
It was ba ba. It literally, it's a total chance along thing in there, and it was a good addition to it.
I think it's very cool that you like that one, because the first time I ever played that song was with my old band. 3 years ago, something like that. And it was playing with you, and that was the first time I ever played that song, and I'd just written it maybe that week. And I had different guitar player, completely different band, playing somewhere random in Jupiter. But that was really cool, because you told me, you walked up to me, you go, "Yo, I like that song." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool."
Because it caught me that day. It stuck out. It stuck out compared to the rest of the stuff you were doing, just dramatically, as something that had just that good poppy edge and that.
That's probably why I put it on Upswell. It's because of you saying that to me.
I appreciate
which
that.
Which is cool. Which is very cool. And that song
So when you make your first $1 million, is James getting cut in?
Totally.
Yeah.
If I ever make $1 million off of anything, like I'm
We're
just
all
gonna give it to him
going on
anyway.
tour.
Life is a lot easier when you don't have $1 million.
We're
That's-
all going on
That's
tour.
all the musicians I know. We all say the same thing. If I make $1 million, I'm just taking all my friends on tour.
Right.
We're just gonna all
just
get
getting
in
a bus,
buses. We're
and
all
about
gonna go
50
have
of us
fun.
are
No,
all
I'm not
going on
getting, I'm
tour.
not getting in a bus. I'm gonna get in my Instagram glam van because I'm
Yeah.
totally gonna get like a Mercedes Sprinter and pimp this thing out. And I'm gonna be on Instagram. I'm gonna have a stream
I like
of
it.
income just from my Instagram glam van posts.
That's
But
awesome.
to be fair, Good on the Bad Side, like that's a fun song for me. And although Upswell, there's a lot of songs on there that like I vibe hard with. Good on the Bad Side, it's like it was written about somebody that I don't ever want to see again for the rest of my life, but it was a fun moment that I wrote it in.
Right.
And so it's taken on a different meaning for me because now I have an enjoyable time. And if I ever run into that clown again, I'll be like, hey, bitch, guess what?
Thanks for inspiring
I
me.
T-Swifted your ass.
Guess what? Guess what? And that's what it is. But Wrong Generation, like,
I like that one. That
Wrong
new one
Generation
is great.
is like, it's a lot of fun because I like when something bothers me, I like to make fun of it. And when I lived in Nashville, the way that
I feel like I noticed that a lot in all of your songs.
the way that some of these girls that I went there to write some songs for some people, and I stayed there for a while, and the way that I saw like female musicians being treated there, like it was very strange to me. Like they think you're old when you're like 25 now, and I burned a lot of years playing football, but those are the only years that you have playing football. Like I mean, that's it.
Absolutely. You
So
can't
I
really
burned-
do that in your 40s.
40s.
No, I mean I burned a lot of years playing sports that I had only those years. And then I went there and I saw these women that are incredible musicians, not really getting treated very well because they think you're old when you're 26 years old. I'm like, what?
Because you're past that pop age.
But
Yeah,
I
but
don't get it.
But I feel like that's
so weird.
all musicians, though. I don't think. I mean,
Yeah, this is
maybe it's a
true.
little harsher on women, but I think that's all. I think if you're 40 years old, you
Wouldn't
could
you
write the
get-
greatest song in the world. They're going to approach you and they're going to ask you to sell it to a young band.
Right. Well, that's
Absolutely.
genre based.
It's so true.
genre-based. It's
Because
so
like punk is the
genre-based.
same way.
Yeah.
It's
Like
so,
punk,
no,
it's the young man's game.
no,
all
I
around.
don't know about that because man, the punk bands I feel like sell at the most shows are the ones that have been touring for freaking 20 years, which is awesome.
True.
And I'm
True.
into that. And same with like, you got these 80s bands that these guys have been touring for freaking 20 years. And I love that. But, I think about it and I don't care because I'm an indie musician. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I could be like I could hire some girl to say she's me and I could release everything online and be like, there I am. It's indie. Indie music is so different. It's such a different planet. Indie music doesn't care. Like indie music,
Absolutely.
it's not about just being independent. Indie music is its own genre. But like my musical idol is Lucinda Williams,
Okay.
and she's a picker. I'm not to her, even in her like followers wheelhouse of skill, but she has shown people, hey, guess what? I'm a woman in this business that's going to keep on rolling as long as I'm alive.
Absolutely.
And I like that. And actually, there's a lot of country music women like that. Dolly keeps rocking. She don't care.
Gotta love
Oh
Dolly.
man, yeah.
There's a lot of
Always a
women
fave.
that they don't care. But
Woman of class right there.
we're trying to get country music to get their shit together. Blues music is not ageist.
No. No, that's
Blues
actually kind of the
music
reverse.
appreciates
They want
older
you to be older.
musicians. And I love that. And I don't know.
They're like, oh, you're not great enough. You can't do the blues.
I know. It's the
You're not
truth.
pissed
That's
enough.
the truth. And that's the truth. And I want to become one of the blues mandolin players of South Florida.
You gotta,
and there aren't any yet.
You gotta be like old enough to give up on the world.
Well, I know, and I'm just gonna start my journey now because, like, 20 years from now, then I'll be old enough to give up on the world. So I haven't given up on the world yet.
So who are you were talking about some national acts? Are there any local bands or local artists that like they're your favorites? You really like them? You really
Totally. Surfer Blood.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
yeah,
a
we
big
talked-
clown
yeah,
for Surfer Blood.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Yeah.
I 100% love them. They rock. They're unbelievable. My two like active touring legends that I'm obsessed with are Dave Matthews and Lucinda Williams. But there's a lot of local musicians that I'm obsessed with. I'm a little bit of a clown. I will meet a local musician that I've been following for years and be a big time loser, and then I'll some famous person will walk by. I'm like, okay, no, like, no.
You're fangirling over the local guy.
Oh my god, absolutely, 100%. I mean, there's 5 or 6 local musicians that I've met in the last few years that I acted like a huge clown.
Can't help yourself sometimes. I do the same thing sometimes. When it's people that I like, I'm like, I nerd out.
For freaking 10 years.
Oh, sure.
And then, well, actually, if I can be a total loser, Ben in the original Killbillies way back in the day, I was a massive Killbillies fan back 15 years ago. I was just a bass player. And I went and saw them at Skrgerber, and it was him and Micah. And I was obsessed with Micah, and I was obsessed with Ben. And so, you know, Micah does his thing, Ben does his thing. And I go out like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, I'm really a loser because I'm like a huge fan of these people, and they're going to think I'm a clown. And I thank God I knew James already. I'm like, I'm going to look like a loser. When he started playing with Killbillies, I'm like, I'm going to look like a loser, but I'm going to come out. I'm a big clown. And Ben probably was like, she's a clown, but she's cool. And then Micah was like, she's a clown, but she's cool. So like one of my guitarists knows Micah. So when I met him, I was like, I know I'm a loser. It's okay. And that's what I said. Like that was my pre-conversation
my opening
sentence. I know I'm a loser because I've been a fan of you for so long, but it's okay. And he's like, what's wrong with you?
It's funny because when I've told Ben this story, I've probably told you this story as well, but when way back in the day when Killbillies was first going around and stuff, I saw them at O'Shea's, and not because I saw they were playing there and had to go see them. I just happened to be at O'Shea's getting annihilated that night, and Killbillies were playing. And the whole time I was just like sitting there watching them. Like I don't even think I was talking to my friends that much.
I know.
Just sitting there watching them.
And
they were just killing it. And I remember turning to my wife and saying like, man, these guys are really awesome. I'd love to play in a band like that one day. And then all of a sudden one day, James and I are talking, and James says, yeah, we might be needing a bass player soon. And I was like, ooh, pick me. So yeah, it's funny that it just goes full circle. You know, you see the band, and then you're like, yeah, I want to be that guy one day, and then one day you are that guy or girl.
Ironically,
it's crazy.
I was talking to you about it because we had already decided on it just about.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that part.
I had already talked about it many times, and I was like, just trying to like. I'm like, all right, I gotta like force this issue at this point.
And I had never even played stand up. I was just like,
you guys told me that story. I'm blown away.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just do like an acoustic bass, and then Ben's like, well, maybe try stand up. I'm like, I'll just try it.
I knew it from the start that you would instantly, because you're a bass player, you're going to want to play the upright.
And let's be real, I'm a gear whore,
and you're a nerd.
But excuse me, as a bass player.
Absolutely.
I would never play stand up. Like you could give me $500 a show, and I'd be like, I don't want to do this.
Ask James. I bought a stand up bass from someone, and I had it in the house, and I was trying it out, and I was messing around with it here and there. I probably had that bass for 4 months, and they kept telling me like, when are you going to bring it out? And I'm like, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. Ben finally is the one who said, look, bring it out. You're either going to play well or you're not. But it doesn't. He's like, it doesn't matter because people are going to be so mesmerized by the fact that there's a stand-up bass there. And so I did it, and I screwed up left and right. But
there's a margin of error on the stand-up bass too.
Yeah, well, because especially with the fretless, you have to have a really good ear.
But I like the margin of error.
The intonation can be.
You got to know where you are. Your mind hole has to know where the fuck you are.
And cool. By playing, we're all bass players here. If you freaking do the wrong thing, the whole room farts in the wrong tone. It's the worst feeling.
Wait, you are a bass player.
But I'm a tremendously good, like, I'm really good at, like, making that little shift. Bing! I was just playing a jazz note. Shut the fuck up. Like, what am I doing here?
A little bend here, a little move.
Yeah. So since you are a bass player, we have to formally invite you into a band that hasn't come to fruition yet.
All bass?
But it will. Oh, it's an all bass player band.
I'm only doing it if it's called Titties and Beer.
I'm down. I'm down.
I feel like it should be just titties and bass.
Yeah, titties and bass.
Oh my God, titties and bass.
Titties and bass.
That's actually terrific. That sounds really, 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 really good to me.
All right, so we're gonna put the graphic of your pedal board up on the screen there.
Oh, dude,
and
this pedal board
you're
makes
very
me well.
you're very unique pedal board. It's awesome to look
It
at.
makes me very well.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
So
Apparently,
That's
Ben
his punk
Childs
rock.
also the greatness factor of Ben Childs.
Yep, he
is
had
involved
one.
in this.
He
Yeah.
had one just. He
Yeah,
had one just like it for a
Born
while.
out of like lack of preparedness for a solo show where I had no fucking pedal board, but I had ordered a bunch of pedals within the last like span.
Hey, however you make it work, man. It looks great.
Talk us through the pedal board here.
Well, so the left we got that RP70. That's like for my electric mandolin. So I have an electric 4-string, totally like feisty as hell 4-string mandolin. I'm obsessed with it. It's kind of like it kind of makes me crazy. I'm not gonna lie. This 4-string mandolin is the Mando Bird 4. It makes me insane because the tone. Okay, if you've listened to Tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Tequila is nothing but the Mando Bird 4. And Epiphone is life, and life is Epiphone.
Yeah.
So to have that instrument in my wheelhouse is just insane. It's insane. The RP70 is just for that. Just for that. It's the only reason I use that. The duplicator is fire because it's got a lot of stuff that I can utilize when I play solo, but it also has some nice reverb tones. I don't do a lot of duplication. I do like occasionally I'll do an octave and stuff, but mainly I use that for the reverb. It's got a very, very cool auto tone. But
Nice.
I don't use a lot of auto tune. I don't. The freaking Canyon is a fire delay pedal.
I
fire.
absolutely love the delay that's on that.
But I use that as a looper right now because I have another looper that I'm going to get, and that will replace that. So I'll use that solely for the delay.
Nice.
And the shimmer effect on that. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I like that kind of stuff because I like those kind of effects.
The
They're just
shimmer
that-
makes me want to be a better woman. It doesn't make me be a better woman, but it makes me want to be a better woman. And then I just have an A and B switcher just because I get grouchy about what happens when I put my mandolin down on the stands. Like it bothers me.
Absolutely.
And then that I absolutely love that Donner pedal with the preamp. The preamp is insane. The preamp alone is worth everything on there. It's got a really nice reverb. It has a chorus, which is cool, but that Donner preamp is all it is. Because the mandolin, like my regular mandolin, the Ovation, the standard mandolin, is high.
Yeah.
And running that into an amp or running it into my mixer, it's a high, difficult instrument to work with sound-wise.
Absolutely. It's
Running
a very
it through
tough. It's a very tough instrument to mix in because
hard.
you can overdo it and really oversaturate the people with the mandolin, and then it just sounds like there's nothing but mandolin.
It's a lot, and even turning
and
the
then
treble
if you turn
down,
it too low, it
hard.
falls out.
turning
Yeah.
the treble down can make it real muddy. It can
It's
really
so
fuck with it.
bright. It needs to be. It's
It's too
bright, but
bright.
it's
It's too
thin,
bright.
so it needs
So
to be in
bright.
that sweet spot.
Mhm.
And I don't play like a bluegrass picker, so the brightness of a mandolin in and of itself does not lend itself to my indie style, my indie folk style. So that freaking preamp is life. And then that's a volume pedal because Jay and Lee said you need a volume pedal. I'm like,
It's
okay.
it's very
That's-
helpful.
that's
Honestly,
fair.
it's very helpful. Like
like
Joe
to
uses
be-
it a lot because it just sometimes you don't realize like the energy you're putting out in the song gets it louder, and you just kind of need to come back because you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I dialed it up a little too much, or like everybody else, guitarists always get louder as they go.
Yeah.
Well, God damn it, that's a thing. Okay, let me speak out against that. No, I love my guitarists.
Bass
and
players against loud
Bass
guitarists.
players against
bass
loud
and mandolin
guitarists.
players against freaking loud guitarists. I mean, honest to God, like, don't get me wrong, me love me some guitar solos, but that's why I have that, because I like the mandolin to be maybe in between. I like the mandolin to be, I like my rhythm guy to be right just below the mandolin,
Right.
and my solo guy
So it's acting like the top of the
to be
rhythm.
a little above me.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, because my solo guitarist, he doesn't play a loud rhythm. He's a very, very subtle rhythm player. So I want him highest in the mix.
Right. To
So
really
that
get
volume
so you can
pedal-
hear all his diversity.
When I have to just get Clown City and be like, I'm doing a solo now, this is happening. Stomp that little baby.
I know.
Yeah.
I
And
kind of
we're going
want
in.
to. I kind of want a volume pedal, volume sweep for Killbillies too, because my boost is too much, and I
Yeah.
would like to have something where I could dial it in and be like, oh wait, now I'm doing this kind of a picking.
love that
I'll pull
volume
it
pedal.
back here.
like
I'll do
it.
this. I'll pull it to here.
And it's little.
It's funny. You wouldn't think with the stand-up bass, but I've actually thought about that with the stand-up bass even because there's been times where I need to be out in front a little bit, and there's other times where I want to go down. And you hear sometimes I just get like that feedback.
Yep.
Although,
I like that
Although
one.
I do play the feedback pretty well.
Yes, you do. You do play a mean feedback.
Oh, amazing feedback.
I honestly really, really, really like that volume pedal.
Yeah.
It's little, it's small, it's easy to use, it's very responsive, but it's predictable.
Yeah.
And, I like that one. So
Well,
that's my only gearhead shit because I'm really not very knowledgeable about gear.
oh no, it's all good.
I look like a clown talking about gear with people, and I just basically do this when
No,
people talk about gear. I'm like,
you-
I want to listen.
No.
No, you know what your pedals
yeah.
do. That's the
That's
most
all I
important
know.
thing.
Important.
I
That's the
think
most-
I know what they
I know
do.
what mine do. Mine do. my
Sometimes they
noms
do things I didn't know they do, which is cool, and I learned something. I'm like, interesting.
But at least you know what they do that you want them to do.
Exactly.
I
that's-
think I
and that's
usually know
fine.
what they do when I want them to do them most of the time.
Well, and I definitely they get the sound that you want out of that Mando that you have. Absolutely, they
Because
really get a
Gold
nice
Zone is
full
like-
sound.
Amazing mandolin. By
An
the way.
amazing Mando.
I'm waiting for the progressive agenda of the world to allow me to marry the gold tone mandolin, because when I go
I think we're getting there.
when I go
Yeah.
when I leave this earth, I want everything to go to that mandolin. So we got to figure out a
Change
way
my
to
name
make
to
it happen.
Gold Tone.
Well,
That mandolin
thank
is
you,
going to get everything.
Thank you very much for being on here. You actually are playing Brick and Barrel on Friday the 2nd.
Absolutely.
That's a Fox and Foes.
That's a Fox and Foes. That's a 9 to 12.
awesome.
Nice. Always
For,
a good one.
for the moment, I'm off on the 3rd. I don't know if that's going to continue.
Between now and then,
I think we're
and
gonna
for those
try
that don't
and do
know, we're
something.
recording this a week early since Ben is on holiday, as he says.
Holiday.
So yeah, but I'm sure between now and then you'll have something on the 3rd, and then now we get to our shameless Killbillies plug.
Yes.
Yay, Kill Billy.
I
As
also
I-
like to shamelessly plug Kill Bill.
As I said, Ben's on holiday, so our first show back at it will be July 8th, and we will be at the Funky Biscuit.
Oh, that's right. Funky Biscuit.
and
First
as will
time.
I. And as will I.
You will need
Nice.
to bring the clown posse with
I will
you.
be there in Clownville.
The Clown Brigade.
I will be
Yes.
there in Clownville in the audience 100%.
Yes.
That's going to be a fun show. I can't
I'm
wait for
excited
that.
about that gig. I think it's going to be a fun gig.
That is my new favorite
It's
place.
the first time I've played at a place that I haven't played at
Yeah.
in a while.
Yeah.
It's an incredible venue.
No,
I
Like-
love it.
I'm thrilled, man. I'm thrilled that Al reached out, reached back out to me when I sent the email,
It's
and
going to rock. It's going to rock.
I'm thrilled that we're gonna be playing there. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully we'll pack the place. I know that Thursdays they call it Thirsty Thursdays.
Oh, yeah.
So Thursdays they have like a whole.
I'm going to do a cartwheel in the crowd, and I'm going to bring out all the women that I know. All
Nice.
the women, all the South
Yeah,
County
we're
women
gonna
that I've
we're gonna
ever met.
we're gonna
in my
hold
life.
you that.
Right?
If you think I won't do a cartwheel while you're playing, you don't know me.
No, I felt that ring. I know you will.
Oh,
going to
100%, 100%. She'll do that.
It's going to happen. I might cause people at Funky Biscuit to be like, meh, I don't know how we feel about this woman, but it's going to be fun.
That's okay. And on the next episode, we are gonna have Carl Schmid, violin player.
Oh,
which
nice.
is- yeah.
Love Carl.
Amazing
Yeah.
violin player.
I
I
like
know he's
Carl.
played with
Incredible
Killbillies a few times.
Yes, he has.
Yeah,
That's gonna be really
in fact,
cool.
I think the first time I played with him was Ben's birthday.
He's played with Fox and
at
Foes as well.
TT52.
He rocks.
Yeah.
He rocks.
Yeah,
He always comes in, does some
pretty-
nice stuff with us, hangs out, and's a good person.
Oh, he's
it's all
super,
good
yeah,
stuff.
he's super amazing, super amazing. So yeah, he'll be on the next episode. So yeah, with that being said, thank you very much. We appreciate you being on.
Psyched.
Yeah,
Another album coming out end of the year. So stay tuned.
excellent.
Yes.
We'll be looking for it. All right, guys. Next time.